shockingly, is some people question that the Chicago Bulls making the play-in is not worth it, and I think that's completely insane to say. Also, we got to talk about the Bulls versus the Washington Wizards preview tonight and what the Bulls do to get the W. I am Shaq Barnes here with another great episode of Bulls Digest, the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls. So I also noticed that 6-7% of you guys have watched the channel and have not subscribed. Please subscribe. Join the Bulls Digest movement. If you love the Chicago Bulls and you love the content that we bring here, make sure you drop a like and make sure you comment down below. But we got a lot of things to talk about because it's people truly thinking that this Chicago Bulls young core team making it to the play-in is a bad thing. Now, I could hear you saying this when it comes to the team that we had all-star break because we had a lot of vets and a lot of high-paid players on the roster, then it will make sense. But it's a lot of things we got to talk about too. So obviously, here's what the title says. Bulls' latest impressive night has Chicago's fans unfortunately thinking playoffs. It truly would be fun, but in the end, just not worth it. And I want to say highly disagree with that. And I don't think it was smart to even say this because when you look at this Chicago Bulls team and what they have currently constructed with this young roster, why would you think that like making a play in with a young core of a roster is a great thing because you need to build the experience and then you can see what you need to add on to the team. Only time when it comes to play where it's bad to be a play-in team when you have like multiple guys on high to close max type of contracts and they older veterans and you can't really have nothing else established in the future. That makes sense to not make the play-in. That's how the Bulls was a year ago. Maybe coming into this season felt the same way too. But and if you don't understand what I'm saying, let's look at the Chicago Bulls payroll, right? And there's two things I want to establish right here. Our two oldest rotational players or starters, or you can say three if you want to count Kevin Huerter, but 26 is relatively still young. When you look at Kevin Huerter, he's 26. But the next thing after that is Lonzo Ball, who's 27. And yes, he's making $21 million a year. But if you look right next to the next couple years, he reconstructed his contract, so he's taking less money. So now what we paying Lonzo this year, we're going to pay him over expanded 2 years. So that's a vet on a good deal. Then also we got Nikola Vucevic, which we don't know what the future held with him, but guess what? Next year he's going to be on an expiring contract, so it might be easier to move, or we could probably keep him and ask him to readjust his contract. But back to this roster, our main core, Kobe White, 25, still young. Our rookie, Monty Buzelis, is a 20-year-old rookie, not even close to what he can actually be as a player and be outstandingly great. Then we also got Josh Giddey, who's a diamond in the rough that we just found. And now we look back at the trade saying Chicago Bull won the trade because you got a young superstar on your hand. He's 22. Josh Giddey is 22. So when you tell me it's not worth it in the end, I'm wondering like, what are you looking for? Who is in this draft that we can get? And it's not necessarily guaranteed that if we tank, we can get Cooper Flag because I get the Cooper Flag one. But majority of these guys in this class are either freshmen, or you can look back and they was ranked to be number one, or they could have been 10 and they was down in the lottery at one point in time and switched over. And it, to be a perfect example, technically getting Monty Buzelis is a steal of this draft. Because if you go back and look at when Monty Buzelis, and I'm gonna go this screen so you can see the year. This is July 2023. A year before his draft, Monty Buzelis was ranked the number one player, the projected number one pick. So the Chicago Bulls end up still getting a number one pick talent, and you see see what this kid can become. So I just think you guys are too lost in the mind, and that tanking is not always the end all be all. Because yes, if you relatively bad like the Washington Wizards, who we playing tonight, which we're going to talk about and later in this video, yes, then maybe you want to tank. You are at the bottom of the league. You have nothing to lose, and you got vets on that team. So let's go add somebody else. You see, they just traded for Chris Middleton, so they trying to build something else for the future. So it makes sense. The Chicago Bulls finally gutted and went a direction, and then when they gut the roster, but really got rid of Zach, who was supposed to be our star player, they got rid of Zach. And they said, okay, let's see what these young guys can do. And the young guys took off and had so much promise. So I just think we got to stop getting lost in the madness that just tanking will always save you. Because unless you guaranteeing us Cooper Flag, because he's looking like a generational talent, then yeah. But besides that, everything else is always up in the air. You can look at perfect example of this draft class. We got Monte Buzelis at 11, and I think that was a great pick because you could pick wrong. No offense to Reed Shepard for the Rockets. Come on now, he picked high, so don't necessarily just be too hyped on just getting the pick. It's not necessarily gonna say. But then we look at this draft prospect class, and this is the main thing I really wanted to point out. Great draft class. You got Cooper Flag, you got Dylan Harper, you got Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, Trey Johnson. We got a lot of good players in this draft that's coming up. But if you notice, majority of these guys, freshman, junior. Now, so you telling me we should not see the promise of Montez Buzelis, not see the promise of Josh Giddey, or let's see Kobe White become a star caliber player. We should put that to the side to tank for a freshman who just go turn around our roster. That doesn't make sense to me. And then the Bulls can still, even where they at right now, can still get a great player because this draft is deep. I think you need to go for more of how this team is set up. You might need to go more for fit. Now, but the only player on this team, on this draft board right here, where I can say we gonna figure it around him is probably Cooper Flag. But anybody else, like, is it really worth bringing in a Dylan Harper? Maybe, because he's still going to be great, but now it's like, okay, is he going to play point guard because now it's take away from Josh Giddey, or is he going to be, you taking a guy number 2 just to come off the bench because it's a better fit? Do you want that with the team that we have? Because you got, I believe Josh Giddey, Kobe White, and Montez Buzelis is our team, our 3 right here. So we really need a big, a versatile 4. You know, you got the guy from Maryland, maybe him, maybe Queen. We don't know. And the Queen could probably still fall to us. Maybe at 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, around that range. So we can still get the prospect that we want. I just want you guys to understand this. And then we even let Montez Buzelis still has to grow. Because if you look at what Montez Buzelis has given us this season, 8 points, 3 rebounds, just under assists, just under a block, shooting 45% from field, 35% from 3. And man, these numbers are not even as accurate as it is because post All-Star break, Montez Buzelis is really giving you 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists a game, and he's shooting a 61 true shooting percentage. He got the opportunity to play, and that's why I said this and the team that we got now is two totally different teams. And we got a totally different Montez Buzelis because Montez Buzelis was having a hard time getting in the rotation because Billy didn't play him at first. Obviously, the rookie woes, but guess what? Montez Buzelis now has to show that he is a man of the future. And that's all I wanted to establish first before we get into anything else. Now, let's get into the game preview. We got to talk about the Washington Wizards versus the Chicago Bulls. Obviously, the Wizards are pretty much done for the season. They're pretty much out and about. If you look at the season's ranking right now, the Wizards are at the bottom of the league, 17 wins, 6-3 losses. Obviously, the Bulls with a great win over the Miami Heat. We are 1 game behind the Atlanta Hawks, possibly for the 8th seat, which would be outstanding to get. So the best thing for the Chicago Bulls to do is win out. Like, you have to win out. Win out is the best thing to do. And then let the dominoes fall how they fall. So with this Washington Wizards being on the list today, you cannot take anything for granted against this team. Do not come in think it's light. Don't come in think we the Bulls think it's a night off. No. Every game to the end of the season, gotta treat it like a playoff game, play-in type of atmosphere game. You gotta treat it like that. Every game. Now we gotta go to the injury reports before we get into my keys to victory of this game. Obviously, Ayo Dosunmu is still out for the season with a shoulder injury. Lonzo Ball is out with a wrist injury. Trey Jones out with a foot. Jalen Smith is probable with an ankle injury. Then you go to the Washington Wizards side of things. They got a multitude of injuries. Bula I think I said it right, is out for the season. Corey Crisper is out for the season with a thumb. Anthony Gill is out with a hamstring. Sadiq Bey is out with a knee. JT Thor is day-to-day with a knee. Probably won't play. Probably shutting him down for the rest of the season. Holmes is out day-to-day with a shoulder. Middleton is out with a knee. Mr. Pool Party, Jordan Poole is out with an elbow, probably done for the season. And Malcolm Brogdon is out with an ankle, probably done for the season. And the team shut down everybody. If you're pretty much looking at how everybody is out, like, you know what, we're going to shut it down. Season is over with. There's nothing else we can do. We're going to let some of these young guys play, let some of our G Leaguers come in, get some shine, let them play. But with that being said, you have to understand and establish that none of these, like, those guys going to try to play hard to win. And they're gonna come out and play. So if you take it lightly on this team, you will lose. Obviously, the Chicago Bulls have a 2-1 record against the Washington Wizards this season. But the problem is, there's two reasons why you can't look at the record of why against the Wizards for tonight's game, is because we are two different teams, and the Wizards is a different team, and also everybody is out. This was the Zach Lavine-led Chicago Bulls with this victory, so we got to take everything with this with a grain of salt, honestly. And with that being said, it's pretty much a blank ship. Then lastly, but not least, Josh Giddey had a quote about what's going on, which he's on the same type of timing that I'm on, where I think we should play every game day to day, look what's in front of us, don't take nobody lightly. He said, we can't look too far ahead. Giddey told reporters following his 7 triple-double of this season, we got 2 games to go. I don't know how far we can move up or down or what the situation looked like, but we're trying not to concern ourselves too much with it, playing one game at a time, and we'll see where we end up after 82 games. And I think Josh Giddey to say that is outstandingly true, because if you look too far ahead, like, oh, we win these 2 games, Atlanta lose these 2, did Miami lose this and that, and you worried about what another team doing, and you won't even get to the point where you need to do or get your job done, because at the end of the day, you have to finish and do what you need to do first. You do what you can control first, and then let the dominoes follow how they fall. My SB 3 keys to the game is pretty much simple, because it's not really too much gameplay to really break down when it comes to these two teams. You got one team who's for the tank out from this season, another team who's trying to establish themselves in the play-in. So one team actually really wants to lose to better their draft position. But rule number 1, don't take this game for lightly. Don't take this game lightly. If you come in, take this game lightly, and mess around, lose, then you could ruin all the stuff that you just built on from the tail end of the season, especially knocking the Heat out the way. So don't take this game for granted at all. Also, and win the rebound battle. I think winning the rebound battle will be key in this game for a multitude of reasons. Obviously, the Bulls get up and down the floor. One of the best teams getting up and down the floor. And my third key to the game is definitely run them boys out the gym. Get up and down the floor in the game by the first half. Because if we really care about, like, hey, we don't want to really burn out Kobe White, Josh Giddey before this playoff play-in run, the best way to do that is run them out the gym early. Try to get about 20 points by the second half. Obviously, in the new NBA, no lead is really safe. You can come back at any point in time. But with all their star players being out, it's probably going to be a bunch of young guys and G Leaguers. Sometimes you got to go ahead and punch the young kids in the face, let them know how you establish yourself as a Chicago Bulls team, and get up early and win the game. This has been another great episode of Bulls Digest with your host, Shaq Barnes, a.k.a. SB Talk Sports. Let me know what you guys think, too, with the main topic of the first beginning of the video. Is it worth it that the Chicago Bulls made the play-in, or do you think they should have just tanked out the season? I think it's insane, but I would love to hear what you guys think. And also, what are you guys' prediction for tonight's game? I have the Bulls winning, but I do not want them to take the Washington Wizards lightly. So please comment down below. Make sure you subscribe and ding the notification bell. It's been another great episode. Peace.